inside them is going to be just about the same as the temperature outside. The plastic effectively just keeps frost from settling on stuff more than anything. So a lot of that stuff will overwinter there. We'll have different things that will get cut back, and then in springtime they'll leaf out early. We can have a big batch of good stuff ready to go, you know, before anybody else has anything. Those two big ones in the back you'll see running this way. Those used to be a smaller, shorter, rounded top house. They were not designed for snow load, and about halfway through the winter storm week, both of them came toppling down. Fortunately, everything in there was pretty hardy. It didn't really affect it, but we lost those structures. And since they weren't designed for snow, we just had to eat the cost on that. The insurance did not cover that. So, who would have thought Texas? But I mean, if you're going to build a greenhouse, like, you might as well just pick one that's designed for snow, just in case, because it could happen.
Climate change.
How hard is it to transit? I see the wiggle wire and stuff. How hard is it to transition to the structure?
Really, it's really pretty easy. A team of guys, you know, 3 or 4 people can like pretty much do all these big houses in a day or two. I mean, you noted, good eye, the wiggle wire. It's all just you know, they're attached on the ends only, basically, and then on the bottoms. It's an aluminum extrusion, and it has a piece of wire that's shaped like a zigzag. You just put it in there and you start wiggling in, and it locks it in. That's what holds the cloth in. That's what holds the plastic in. It's really low maintenance. It's, you know, is it as temperature tight as a, you know, fully glazed hard house? No, it's not, but it's a lot cheaper. You know, to build a house of this size, you know, fully glazed, steel, all that stuff, I mean, it's gonna be way more. So this has really proved to be an effective solution to expanding, because like she said, they're always wanting to build one more. She still talks about it, and we're just about out of room. I mean, we could probably do 1, 2, maybe 3 more, maybe. But yeah, this is about as, you know, this is as big as the farm has ever been. It sits on roughly 11, 12 acres, and like she said, they do live on adjacent property right through the trees over there. So it's worked out really well for them. If you're going to run an operation like this, you better live next to it, because when something happens in the middle of the night, if you're 30 miles away, you can't do anything about it. You know, Kathy and her husband came up here every day in the winter storm. I was about the last person to leave the nursery before the storm set in, and it was just them looking after it the whole time. And I think about maybe 3 or 4 days into it, they just couldn't walk up here anymore. You know, the water pressure was down. We had, you know, a greenhouse full of enormous tomatoes at that point, and you're coming out with a hose and the water's coming out like that. It takes 2 or 3 hours to water a greenhouse, and so yeah, that was a tough time. I'm sure it was for everybody here. It was for everybody. But yeah, again, you know, if I was owning the nursery and I was downtown Georgetown where I live, like, that'd have been it. I couldn't have gotten up here. You know, so you know, that's a key thing. If you're going to do something like this, you should be prepared to live next door to it, take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
Most people like to walk through this house, and just will, because it's kind of a neat one. This is our stock plant propagation house. It's also just a home for wayward plants, stuff that people have collected over the years. There's a lot of neat stuff in here. A ton of this stuff we don't even grow or sell anymore. But some we do. There's a native Texas red bay tucked in there. We do. These are elderberries, curry plants. Now this we do. These are our herb stock plants. We do a ton of cuttings off of these. Thymes, oreganos, mints, stuff like that. It's real easy to do. Saves you money. Some of this other stuff, you know. Crown thorns, another collection plant. Donkey ears. I mean, a ton of this stuff does just sit in here.
Oregano. That's how you say it on the fruit.
Oregano? That's right.
How do you say thyme? Thyme.
She's making fun of my accent.
She loves the sunshine.
I do.
Remind me where you're from.
Next to those holes in England. In Austin for 9 years.
Okay.
In America, 17 this year.
So y'all have babies? They just pick those off and grow them.
Oh,
Yeah, this one has roots right here. See this, Sonia? Anywhere this has a nodule, it'll root.
Yeah, they just go back.
And what's full?
Look at this. Look at that stuff right here.
Dragon through. You were right. Right. Ali.
All right.
Most of this runs about 50. You get about 55%. Some of the deeper stuff.
And then they cut it all out of that into those.
All this stuff is wide open, so these houses get easily 10, 12 or more hours of sun a day. So 50% shade cloth, all it does is make the plants look really good, and then hold them back, doesn't really slow them down very much. This is the stage out area. This is where we put all the orders for the week. We have a crew who works very hard pulling all the plants, making them look pretty. So you can see some of the shelves are empty. Those represent what we sent out, today. We kind of have a weekly cycle of we take the orders Thursday through Monday, and we ship stuff out Tuesday through Friday.
These are customers.
So all of these, each little piece of tape there is going to be like a different customer. Once they get them all together, then I'll arrange the delivery for it, and we'll load up each day. We go to Wimberley on Tuesdays. We go to Houston on Tuesdays. Wednesdays is Austin. Thursdays San Antonio. Friday we tend to go out to Fredericksburg, Kerrville, and more.
And use the
Customers
sun.
have gotten in a rhythm. They like it when it's predictable. You show up on the same day every time. They appreciate that. This is a huge part of the effort that goes into this place. Is you see this stuff looks really good, but if you just go in the greenhouse, you're not going to be able to just grab a tray and it's perfect. I mean, these guys spend a lot of time. That's a dead pot. Take it out. Put a new one in. Oh, that one's got a weed. Pull it out. So this is an incredible amount of labor goes into this. And again, labor is the number one biggest cost here at this place. And it's something to consider when you are, going to go into this kind of thing. Is like labor is going to be your biggest deal. It's going to be your biggest expense. So you got to kind of calculate how much is your labor worth, and what are you really going to end up making in the end. But we in the height of spring, it's probably no big deal for us to do 50,000 in sales a week. Now right now we're probably hitting about 20, 30,000 a week just in the height of things, and it's going to taper off. It always does. The last 2 years were kind of very unusual. You had a lot of high interest in gardening, people getting into it, and basically it kicked off in February and it didn't slow down until December. I mean, this year more now has kind of been back to the old rhythm of like it tapers off in the summer, and it did a little bit, but I mean it's kicked back up real fast now that the weather's kind of turned. Once we get past Thanksgiving, it'll tick down again, but you hit January, nurseries are doing inventory, but then again, if you're going to be selling tomatoes the second week of February, that means you better be planting them in January and getting ready for it. So that's when we really start to kick up, is right after the new year, and then you'll see a ton of stuff come out. It looks like they've more or less made their way out of the dirt pile. Yeah, question? Anybody?
What are you doing in like late July through August?
Well, herbs tend to be a really good seller all year long. We do sell vegetables in the summertime. We kind of stretch tomatoes out a little bit, but peppers do well all summer long. They don't mind the heat so much. We've started to do stuff like Malabar spinach, other kind of tropicals, okra. That's when we really hit okra, is July, stuff like that. It's when it's hot, that's when they can
Melons?
plant that stuff.
You guys do melons?
A little bit. We do some cantaloupes. We do watermelons. If you want watermelons for 4th of July, though, I mean, you got to be kind of planting them pretty early. And then we do pumpkins. See, people's pumpkins. When you sell that right now, if you want to have a pumpkin on Thanksgiving, you got to be planting it like July or August. Yeah, because they take about 100 days, or 80 to 100 days, most of them. This would be a good opportunity to break off and go check the dirt pile out. I think they're made their way through there, so we'll hit this way and we'll see the other place where all the
greenhouse. They put the baby plant over here for the transplants. Or they go sell it. They're pretty big, this area. It's pretty organized, man. Woo! That is a
These
good.
are all the customers.
Yep.
I wonder who all these serve.
Oh, yeah.
These
I
kind
like
of
it, man.
look like the plants that I get from
Yeah.
the feed store by my house.
The dairy pie. My favorite pie. Yeah. Dairy handle, man.
This is a product we can sell at the farmers markets. We can start the baby plants in our own.
Exactly,
house.
yeah.
We got to get a better soil mix for
Mm-hmm. Make it
starting.
organic.
One, we've got our secret worm farm, so we can use the worm castings as our starter.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Nick's from Live Iron she was referring to. They come here with a big roll-off truck and dump it every couple of months or so. We go through quite a few gallon pots, especially in the summer. That's another part of the summertime thing is gallons take us through when we don't have as many 4-inch items. This is the soil mixer, the Bulletin Lawson. Again, it's about 3 years old tops. We've just barely had this thing. It's fantastic though. I mean, it takes a lot of that effort out of it. It's pneumatically powered for the chutes. The tank itself is a big electric motor. We have one side over here where when we mix the gallon stuff, it gets diverted there. And then as you'll see as we move in, we have another area where the mix for the 4-inch stuff goes. You know, get a good lender. Capital Farm Credit, that's who does a lot of our financing and stuff like that. They are, as you maybe seen their commercials, they are specifically suited to working with farmers and agricultural endeavors. They have been extremely good to us. The other good thing to have is a good hard goods broker. BWI Companies is who we use predominantly. We were using Kenny Bonded Warehouse and Donna. We still use them a little bit, but they were the ones who got us the Berger soil. Our new mix we have gotten through BWI, and they're based out of Schulenburg. They have an office in Dallas. They're really, really good. They've been really good to us. We've been a customer with them a long time. They give us special terms. You know, they'll extend terms. They'll give us, good deals on stuff. You're gonna need a lot of inputs. You don't realize it when you start out, but if you're gonna sell 400,000 vegetable starch, well, you're gonna need 400,000 plastic pots, among other things. And the big struggle, these last couple of years has been getting everything in. There's been a couple times where we pretty much ran out of dirt, or we pretty much ran out of pots. So having those relationships is key. It's vital to making sure that you have the tools you need to do your job.
So, hey, having two different mixes for the two different size pots, is that just about giving it the right nutrients it needs to last until it's transplanted, or is there...
Basically, yeah, the reason we use this is more like a true soil. This is a real mix. The gallon stuff
That's
goes
for the
in
bigger
it.
pots?
They're going to live in it a lot longer. It, sustains them a lot better. With the 4-inch stuff, you want a potting mix because, a person's just going to take that and slap that in the garden immediately. It's going to hang around here, not even long enough to deplete the nutrients that it came with. Sometimes stuff does, but yeah, that's pretty much it. And, a 4-inch tray with that potting mix, soaking wet, it'll weigh 20 or 30 pounds. But if it was that stuff in there, you'd be looking at 50 or 60 pounds. It's a lot denser. When it comes off the truck, it is really something special. It steams. You can smell the fertility coming out of it. It's really fantastic mix. I think Sam pretty well had the biggest hand in coming up with that mix. He's always been an avid large item grower. Trees were kind of his specialty. And yeah, Vital Earth's great. They're another one. A good relationship, really important. They've worked with us. They give us terms. They know what we need. They're always reaching out. Hey, you need another delivery of soil? Looks like you got one same time last year. That is more than just having the stuff. It's having those relationships. The organic community is like I found that most people who are into this kind of thing are happy to talk to you, share stuff, give you pointers. It can be difficult. When you're starting out, there's not a lot of resources out there. So if you're interested in getting into something, do something like this. Visit a place that's already up and running. See what they do. See how they do it. Talk to them. Most people, like I said, are pretty happy to talk to you. It's just kind of the nature of this business. It attracts those kind of people. We'll go in here and we'll check out the potting up area. We'll just fly on this way. But do watch your step in this gin. It is a tripping hazard all into itself, so just please be careful.
It's an old cotton gin, huh?
The machine area.
Like this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Work area. Yeah, the baby plant.
Well, like she said, this building was inherited from the gym, from the cotton co-op. It's kind of become a, workspace and catch-all for all kind of stuff. It's where we keep a lot of our tools. It's where, as you can see, we collect plastic pots, stuff like that. Got a nice loft. We keep our brand new stuff over there. It has a loading dock, so whenever an 18-wheeler with pots does come, they can pull around there and just throw the stuff right off. Otherwise, you gotta make sure your driver's got a lift gate, or make sure you rent a forklift. We have to rent a forklift every time we get soil, because typically those come on a flatbed and we just don't have one. But this is where they do all the potting up. So they take those trays from the seed house and they'll go right into a 4-inch pot. The dirt comes out right behind you there where that red tub is. They fill up the tubs, and then you see here on this table they got layers of soil stacked up ready to go. They just put the cardboard on to kind of protect them overnight, but they'll go through, plant a layer, put it on the trailer, plant another layer, put it on the trailer, rinse and repeat, and then go and put it in the greenhouses. But, not having to step up and step up and step up, it makes it really easy. The bulk of our money is made on these 4-inch pots. It's like, yeah, it's a tiny pot and it's only a couple of bucks, but again, when you sell that many of them, it adds up. So, if you're gonna do that kind of thing, I always advocate for something like that. Once you get into growing bigger pots, well, you can only fit so many 5-gallon pots on a truck. You can fit a lot more of these, and it's less input, it's cheaper per item for you, and like the margins in this business, are pretty razor thin. So, anywhere you can kind of save money and make it more efficient on yourself, you're gonna wanna do that.
Did you say this was manually done, or it's done by
Correct.
machine?
No, this is, they dump it in a bucket and then they dump the bucket on here. We have looked at flat filler. That may eventually be the next step for us. Just the biggest issue with those for us is that it has to fit into the infrastructure already here, so we would have to make it line up with that and make it convenient. Most of the places that have those, they'll have a big line and they'll fill the line, and you'll have a person every 6 feet, and then they'll plant, move it, and then they'll fill the line again. So we would have to do a little bit of rearranging in here, but yeah, that's the emphasis. I mean, I'm serious. We do it all by hand. Like it's the hard way, a lot of it. It is, but it does result, in my opinion, in a very, very superior product. I mean, when I was delivery driving, I would go to the Natural Gardener, and a person would walk by the truck and see that tag, and oh, Gabriel Valley, can I get some stuff off the truck? I mean, it's worth it. It makes it tough, but that has been huge for us in marketing. Like, why should you buy our plant versus Joe so-and-so's plant? Like, we put a lot of effort into it. It's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, as they say. And for this, I mean, in Jonah, I would say we're absolutely one of the largest employers, and
I bet.
it's nice to be part of that chain, though. But if you think about it, the impact is greater than that. These nurseries that are out there, Round Rock Gardens, Georgetown, Hillside, McIntyre's, all those. When you buy from those nurseries, you're not just putting money in their pocket. You're putting food on the table of people that live here and work here too. So, it's really important to kind of patronize those kind of businesses, and localization, as I think you'll see in the future, is going to be a real big thing. I think we all know about supply chain issues. I heard that till it blew in the face, and anytime you can take that link out of the chain and get it more local and more available, I mean, that's going to be huge moving forward. It definitely is. So it's nice to be a part of that. But, it's pretty rustic in here. I think moving forward, if someone, came in and bought this place, they'd have to tear this thing down, or, it's an ocean nightmare, so to speak. So, but yeah, it gets the job done for now. I think you heard the figures I threw out there. It all comes out of here. 600,000 starts come out of here every year. And it's just the gals and the guys in here, potting them up. So it's, we're proud of it, I guess you could say.
What's the deal with the hanging kayak?
That, I'm sure belongs to Sam. Again, this has become a catch-all. There's definitely stuff in here that's not nursery related. Yeah, it's been there as long as I've been here, and probably longer than that. There's a big stack of lumber in there that's, it's been there as long as I've been here. Again, no one ever uses. I mean, it's not the prettiest place in the world, but again, it gets the job done. That hole in the roof, as you can imagine, is kind of a big problem. I mean, every time it rains, you can't really work right under there. So, it's not perfect, but we get by.
I thought you maybe used that in case of floods.
Would be a chance of that. We are in the floodplain. Right over there is a creek. It's part of the Milam branch of the Brazos San Gabriel kind of thing. We have a diversion from the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality to pump out of that creek. That's another kind of secret of our success, is that we don't water with tap water.
Wow.
We're allowed to pump out of that creek. Now, you have to stay on top of that. If you let your permit lapse, they're going to shut you down until you get it renewed. Like, that's definitely happened here a couple times recently. So, but that water, routinely tests cleaner than the tap water as far as, contaminants, etc. And like the plants love it. So that's pretty huge.
Wow.
We had definitely some issues with it in the summer because, again, like, we let our permit lapse and we didn't, so we had to wait a few weeks. Those few weeks that we had to use the city water were not good. I mean, again, the water comes out of the hose like that. And when you're watering, we do all our watering by hand. There's no drip, no anything like that. So,
Oh, you have those sprinklers on top of your
well, that in
greenhouse.
there, those misters, I mean,
Misters.
ultimately that's not really for watering. And that's only in that house. I mean,
That's
that
humidity,
just
okay.
raises the humidity, correct. And it has a cooling effect when combined with the wind moving through there from the fans. But all the watering is done at the end of a hose. There's one or two people who basically do it all. Which people I always have calls from people like, I want to sell you this. It's compatible with your irrigation system. It's like, we don't use an irrigation system. It's just baffled. Like, what do you mean? So, it's just, again, it results in a superior product. It's a lot of work. We are always looking at ways to improve it. Again, like, we want a flat filler. Our stuff's really expensive. Again, like, to get that soil mixer, I mean, if we didn't have capital farm credit, that wouldn't be happening. Those things are not cheap. And the stuff that you got to consider if you're going to, again, scale up. You want to think to the future, plan for the future, and kind of factor that in so you're not having to, we're at this point and we got to figure this out now. Like, when you think about it ahead of time, you kind of get there, and it makes it a little bit easier. But, it's a really fun endeavor to do this kind of stuff. Like I said, I've been here about 5 years, and for me, it's never been a single day of work. It's a lot of fun for me. I love coming up here. I basically lived up here for the first couple of years, but we've kind of figured stuff out a little better. I don't have to be here 6 days a week, so it's a learning experience. It's been very valuable for me. And I just, this is one of the only places I've ever been where I can truly say that I am proud of what we do, that, it's important. It's something useful to people. It's not just some junk they're going to throw away or, something that's detrimental to their health or anything like that. So, it's definitely worth it to do this kind of thing. There's a lot of value in it, and again, as we move on into the future, it's going to be even more and more vital to people. So that's the big show here. If you like, we can go ahead and kind of traipse around some more of the greenhouses, check out the stuff in the back. You can see everything else there is to see here, what there is. Buchanan's Natives, feed store. I'm not familiar with them. If you go there and tell them, hey, why don't you guys carry our plants, have them reach out to me and see what we can do. There's A&A plants and produce. Arbor Gate and Tomball, that's another one.
Bringing everybody together.
All right.
And there's a variety of kind of.
So it's when we bought their house, we started from the ground up. Mostly doing really big, like raised bed, right? The bird is, there's play. You don't have your card yet. I know, well, did you guys
Okay, awesome.
I think we just go to use the certifier that these guys use, because that's the same, I'm pretty sure this is the same certifier that Cat Springs Milk Pond uses.
I don't have 10 years.
Always wanted to go see. You're doing it. Some kind of look bag. That's be stuff like that. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, that's been a real good one. Like, that's what I always recommend people when they're asking about organic fertilizer. That's what we use. I mean, that's basically
Yeah,
people,
berries
what do
you
you
don't
use?
sell.
What do you use? So it's pretty simple because I mean that's all we use. We, like she said, we try to look for some liquids and stuff like that. But,
so
yeah,
So,
think-
I'm gonna be
I
moving
think-
and
I
moving
think-
plants.
Yeah.
We're gonna find pots.
there's certain times of the year there's no
They're
berries.
at the ground right now and not gonna move them.
well, if again, you have like a business, you have LLC, and you have credentials, because you can go to a hard goods distributor. BWI, it tends to be somewhat more difficult in my experience to break in with them, but they will work with small customers. But Kenny Bonded Warehouse would be another one. They're much kind of more local scale. They'll work with you. They're in Donna, Texas. Again, BWI is in Schulenburg. There's place like that. Otherwise, you're gonna have to scour retailers and stuff like that. But no, if you got credentials and you can get in with a hard goods distributor, that's where we get all our stuff. TO Plastics is they're one of the biggest plastics company around. But like again, we have to get them through BWI. Our relationship with BWI allows us to get them. Yeah, no, you could even go in there and ask for Arthur Lavick. He's our salesman. He's a great guy. Yeah, I've known a few people who've been pretty small and said, "Oh, it's been tough. They won't work with me. They won't work with me." But they're, they work with us. They work with us for a long time. We've become one of their best customers, but we started out as a small. So. Yeah, and again, plastic. That's been another one. They told us last year, like, well, we're not taking any more orders till March 2023. I mean, their machines, they run at a certain rate. They know how many pots they can make with the stock they have, so they can tell you, like, yeah, we can't get to it till so-and-so day, or no, we can't get to it. So that's been a lot more difficult. It used to be a lot easier to say, hey, I need an 18-wheeler of pots, and they'd be out here in a month or so. But yeah, you got to plan ahead. I mean, they've gotten to where they just ask, like, okay, tell us what you want for the year. Tell us what you're going to need, each week for the whole year ahead. It makes it easier on them, but it can be more difficult on you. Plan that far ahead. It can be difficult.
What's your background?
Me, I have a BA in English from the University of Texas. Yeah, I've worked a lot of different jobs. I broke into this through this place.
Okay.
Found a postage stamp size ad in the Sun. Organic farm, looking for a driver, and
So you're liberal arts working in agriculture.
yeah, I've always been a plant person. I really fell in love with it when I came here. I'd always wanted to break into the trade, but retailing and stuff like that, this is different. This is the next level up. Wholesale. This is growing. This is for real. So yeah, it was really just a beneficial opportunity to me. And I started out as a delivery driver. I drove here for about 2 years, and things just kind of went that way. And yeah, so like I said, I work side by side with Kathy every day. If it goes out of here, it comes through me basically. And no, it's been really good. And you'll find as you go along, I've found that it means a lot when you tell someone that you work here. It's like, oh really? Wow. So it's been great for me.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I enjoy it. So yeah, back here. So if you want to just kind of traipse around and look at stuff, we got vegetables here. The herb houses are over here. All the perennials and that kind of stuff are going to be in the back in those cold frames, as I mentioned. We can kind of all.
So hey, how do we buy stuff?
So if you want to buy some stuff, be happy to sell you some stuff.
Okay.
And there's 500,000, like I read today, 500,000 pounds of cheese.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's ragweed and the juniper pollen.
But they're saying they have beavers.
Yeah, it's called cedar fever. Yeah, it's fucking atrocious. No, it's probably cedar beaver. In a cedar tree and watch all the yellow.
And I have a food manufacturer's license, and I'm familiar with because I applied for this reason. And but there's a lot
That's
of
our
things
lavender house. It's pretty pitiful at the moment, but it's
part of this leaf, and there's provisions or exemptions for farm-based processing.
as far as CCLF is concerned, all this is mapped out. All these areas, I had to make a map earlier this year. Everything is labeled. Temporary area for staging plants. House 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have to indicate your barrier. That's the other thing that she was talking about, not doing a split operation.
No. But I did tell John Payne, when you start reading from Song of Songs, to verse 10.
Oh, you told him how to pronounce it?
They have a lot of stuff over here. Man. The empty stuff is they already pick up to sell. So they stack. They have a lot. I think we are at the end of the first. So. They have a lot over here too. Huh? Oh, the plant, the tree, huh? The fruit tree. They have the fruit tree over here, the fruit tree. Yeah, kind of the tree. They have a lot. I think they had the mangoes. What is that? No, it's not. It's a guayaba. Look like guayaba. This tree. They have a lot of tree over here, Matt. All right.
We got a lot of little oak trees like this that we can move around.
All right, guys. Take care. We are on the end. Bye. See you.